click for IB Biology, the diversity of viruses. There's a PDF, a blank PDF of this presentation down in the description, along with quizzes so that you can test yourself on your understanding of the presentation here. I've provided a prompt structure so that you can delve into the details of this topic if that's your interest. And then there's links to the channel and to the playlists. As we go through the information presented here, students should not be overwhelmed by the large amount of information. What I'll tend to do is suggest one or two viruses that you may care to try to remember so that you can use these to illustrate your essays and your exam questions. Here we're taking a look at the so-called DNA viruses, and unsurprisingly, we have the so-called single-strand DNA, and then we have the double-strand DNA. So this would be a single polynucleotide chain, whereas this one here would be a double polynucleotide chain complementary to each other and conforming to take on the shape of the classic DNA helix, like so. And then these single-stranded DNA ones are divided into naked, so you remember there's no host cell membrane around them, unlike these ones here. So examples of single-stranded DNA viruses which are naked would be, for instance, the ones which cause cervical cancer and warts. The common cold is equally one of those. Enveloped examples of single-stranded are the famous smallpox virus, herpes simplex viruses, which of course often take the form of those cold sores that some people have, this very, very infectious condition. And more seriously, in the case of infection of the liver, we have a viral infection of the liver, a viral form of hepatitis B, which actually is associated with the development of liver cancer. Double-stranded DNA viruses, not so well known, where they're non-enveloped, but the pyrovirus would be one of those, which is pyrovirus B19, commonly known as the fifth disease. If you're wondering what fifth disease means, it was actually one of 6 diseases which were characteristic of infecting children. And this was a classification system used in medicine at the beginning of the 20th century. Now you'll have to go and look up the other 6, of course. But the pyrovirus caused what is known as fifth disease. Characteristically, one ended up with kind of like rosy-cheeked and running a fever and so forth. Very, very common, very infectious. Most people have actually had this disease and not realized, but no serious consequences to it, not really. Let's take a look at the RNA viruses, see if there's one or two there that you might want to try to remember. So if we go down the double-stranded RNAs, these all tend to be naked, around about 70 to 75 nanometers in diameter. We have the rotavirus, commonly causing upset stomachs and digestive systems of young children. Back to the single-stranded RNAs, we got the negative and the positive sense of those. When they're enveloped and negative sense, we have the classic influenza H1N1, which actually I'm in recovery from at this very moment. This comes out at about 80 to 120 nanometers. Back to the positive sense, single sense, we've got enveloped and naked. Let's do the naked one first. That's the very famous polio. The polio, which has been the subject of a fairly successful worldwide vaccination campaign in attempts to eliminate this disease. It's not fully eliminated and can still be found in some regions of the world. Enveloped, positive sense, single sense RNA viruses. The famous HIV, comes in at about, it's a very large virus actually, about 100 to 120, 140 nanometers sometimes. And then we have also positive sense and enveloped. We have the SARS-CoV-2, the coronaviruses. Look how large these are. So what I suggest students do is to learn one or two viruses from each of these two divisions so that you can use these to amplify essay questions, short answer questions as examples for your examination purposes. But they're also interesting from a personal point of view where you've had things like influenza or COVID. On the screen now appearing are the links to the next videos in the sequence, along with the link to the channel and of course to the playlist.